Hello and welcome to the G3 podcast. My guest today is Derik Mooberry, CEO of Zitro USA. Derik, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure to have you too. Derik, in a couple of weeks' time, you and I are going to be taking part in the extravaganza that is G3 Las Vegas. And I wanted to start by asking you about the big reveal. I've seen the teaser campaign. I know we're getting a new cabinet from Zitro at the show. So what can you tell me, I know it's ahead of the exhibition, but about the new concept cabinet?
Yeah, so first, obviously, G2E just around the corner, and we couldn't be more excited, obviously, to show the latest offerings. And you are spot on. Our big reveal this year at G2E 2024 is going to be our new concept cabinet. And we haven't really officially revealed it yet. The show is going to be its unveiling for the world to see. But a couple things I think that are worth noting. We've had our glare lineup for a couple years now, so this is our first new cabinet that we've released in a couple years. And kind of the sneak peek or the preview of it is it's bigger, it's bolder, and it's brighter than anything we've done in the past. And I think when customers come to the stand and they start reviewing our offering, the new concept cabinet is going to stick out immediately as soon as they walk in the booth. We've added some enhanced lighting to it. As I mentioned, screens are bigger. It has three different options. There's a triple screen option with three 32-inch monitors. There is a single screen option, which is what we call the Prime, which is a 55-inch flat option.
Right, okay.
And then there's what's called Prime J, which is a 55-inch with a little J curve on the end. And it looks fantastic. We got actually our first ones here in Las Vegas literally 2 days ago. So we were super excited to unpack them and light them up and look at them, and they look absolutely amazing. And I think what customers are going to like about them, certainly they're bigger, they're bolder, they're brighter, and we've seen on casino floors that makes a difference. That the size of the cabinets and the brightness, can draw a consumer in for play purposes. But the operators are going to love them for a couple of reasons. These cabinets contain over 50 enhancements from our glare lineup that was direct customer feedback, where customers gave us ideas and recommendations of how to improve. They're going to see that directly into the new concept lineup. The other thing that the customers are going to see is a lot of portability and flexibility. So games that they liked and loved on our glare lineup will also work on the concept. And games that they see on the concept will also, at the show, will also have the ability to work on the glare. Mm-hmm. And so it allows the customer complete flexibility with our catalog of games and content. And I think some of the best advantages that the operator could get.
Speaking about games, you kind of nicely segue into a kind of question I had about it. I'm aware, again, just kind of briefly from the kind of press announcements of 3 titles coming, Wonder Dream, Triple Charm Journey, and Legendary Sword. And I wanted to ask you if there's a particular theme to the game launches this year. I wanted to find out what's special about these 3 titles and what kind of are you anticipating the visitor response to be?
Well, we think first and foremost, I think, those are our 3 kind of, key games. You'll see those at the forefront of the booth when you walk in with big sign packages, all very exciting releases, that we're highly anticipating to do very, very well. I think what's interesting though, is I think you have to step back just a little bit when you think about Zitro and its evolution. We've only been doing Class 3 content for a little over 7 years now, right? So in terms of, building games, we're relatively young in the Class 3 game development cycle. And what we've seen is this continuous progress of innovation and customer acceptance of our content. And we view these 3 titles as kind of the next wave that's going to take, Zitro to the next level on a global front. The games contain a lot of what I would call the common features that the customers are expecting and playing from today. A lot of these, 3-pot style games where you have a lot of the preeminent win features in them. A lot of the linked bonus style features, the progressives obviously link across the top. The lower progressives change with some of the denom selections of the player. And then we've got some little unique features that kind of make each one of them a little bit special. And I'm personally very excited about Legendary Sword. That's a game we've had in the office now and been playing for about a month. And really, really exciting features when you get into the bonus round, including some split symbols and different ways in terms of how we're rewarding the player. That's just, I think, a little bit unique. And so those three games will certainly be the highlight, but there will be much, much more to offer from the Zitro booth as well.
Okay. Now, have things changed? What you're saying there, Derek, have things changed from people coming to the booth at G2E, exploring and finding out what the brand's about, to coming to the booth now to really kind of buy Zitro products? Has there been that kind of shift in the perception when they come to the booth?
100%. I mean, we're very early still in our journey here in the United States, and players, probably and didn't really know who we are, and neither did operators for that matter either. A lot of people would come by the booth and they remember us or know us for our bingo roots, which is how the company was founded. And now they're discovering, obviously, that we're becoming, a major player in markets all around the world. And really, that's where our goal remains. Is our goal remains to be viewed as one of the, international players providing content on a truly global basis. And we recognize to be successful on that front, we got to be successful in the United States. And so we continue to expand our brand and our whereabouts throughout the country and get people familiar with what Zitro has to offer.
Right now in Lisbon, the G3 team are meeting with Zitro Digital at the SBC Summit to discuss online games, and we're seeing several online titles heading to G2E too, including the latest Foo Frog games, which seem to be everywhere. What games is Zitro Digital making stateside?
Yeah, our intention really is to take our whole or our land-based offering and make it available in the digital front. And so far to date, our growth digitally has all been in the international segments. We don't have a presence yet in the United States. But I think we truly view the future of gaming as really an omni-channel experience. And at some point, yes, we will need to focus on getting ourselves into more of the iGaming market here in the United States. But to start, in our early launch here in the U.S., we've had such a focus really on trying to establish our presence in the land-based market that we've really focused on that first, and that we will look to expand into some of the digital and the online markets into the future.
I suppose from a buyer operator perspective, knowing that you have that channel available as well when you're purchasing game, building a brand, building the loyalty around a brand to know that it will go online as well, that's going to be reassuring from a buying perspective as well.
Absolutely. I think customers see that. I think they see our commitment to that. They'll certainly see it at G2E as well. I mean, we have a whole dedicated section for our online division where we'll be showing, many of the same games that you'll see in a cabinet, right? Literally a few feet away, are the same games you'll be seeing, obviously, on your iPhone in terms of an online experience.
Derek, we interviewed you around this time last year, just ahead of Zitro opening its Vegas office. What have been the highlights for you over those last 12 months?
It's been every year is certainly exciting, and we've had continued growth over the last year. The opening of the office was really about establishing a presence in the United States, and Las Vegas was the natural place for it to be. If you're going to be a gaming company, you got to be based in Las Vegas. You got to be in the gaming capital of the world, and so we're very proud we have an office and a warehouse location there. And the last 12 months has really been taking that foundation that we built in the office and then expanding on that to now customer fronts throughout the United States. And we now have, machines in over 100 casinos throughout the U.S. Literally a couple years ago, that was probably 30 or less. And so, we've seen, tremendous amount of growth and a tremendous amount of acceptance for Zitro products. Customers have been wonderful to work with. They've opened their arms and allowed us to try our products in their locations and to just give us a chance to grow and give us a chance to show our offering.
You mentioned the 100 casinos there. I think you said last year that your plan was to be present in all commercial markets in the US. How are you getting along with that one?
Yeah, it's been great actually. The licensing process in the U.S. Is can be long and cumbersome. We've started in a lot of the early tribal markets, and we've had a lot of growth there. But now we've actually started to seek licenses in some of the commercial gaming markets. And so over the next probably 12 months, you can expect to see Zitro games in markets like New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Colorado, West Virginia, and other markets throughout the U.S. that are more of the highly regulated, state-regulated markets where individual state licenses are required. We've been actively seeking and submitting those licenses over the last 12 months. And so what I think really was an investment year from a licensing standpoint for us, which was 2024. You'll really see the fruits of that in 2025 as we get those licenses, and you'll start to see a lot more markets with Zitro machines.
Returning to the games for a second, has there been a standout product, Derek, in the Zitro portfolio that I guess this year maybe a little bit long, but what have been the factors that it's actually been a real kind of success in, and I suppose it explains how well it's been doing as well. What are the contributing factors to that?
Yeah, the game that stood out over the last 12 months is a game called Foo Pots. It's been our go-to game, probably well more than half of our installations over the last 12 months have been the Foo Pots game. It's been received overwhelmingly well. It's a three-pot game. It's got a doubling feature in it, a multiplier feature in it. It's got extra spin features in it. It's got some great sound, great graphics, of which we continue to receive compliments on from a lot of casino operators. And I think that's just resonated really, really well with players. You see it in terms of the performance reports that get published into the markets. And I think that's allowed, players to, and casino operators continue to take it and add more of those games. And then, the other game it's one we've been using for a couple of years and is still really one of our best is our 88 Link Lucky Charms game, which has been another really solid performing game that we've been using for a number of years now. And as we enter new markets, oftentimes we lead with that game because it continues to do so well.
And is that how you build that kind of brand loyalty with players and operators through specific game titles, or is there more to that kind of relationship building to actually as a new entrant, as a kind of a spiky disruptor in the sector as well? And how do you build that growing kind of player base of US casino goers who are going to a casino and looking for Zitro games?
Yeah, it's a great question, and it has been an experimentation process because we've learned a lot along the way. And I've said oftentimes in discussing this with other people, success sometimes comes through failure. And in our early days and through some of our early tries of things, we learned a lot. Just sometimes how the games get configured and how certain buttons react. U.S. players' expectations are slightly different than they might be in Latin America or Europe. And we had to add additional configurations and things to our games to allow players, the same experience that they expected on games that they were already playing. Because if you offer something that's too different, oftentimes a player will come to it, play it, and go, I don't like it, it's too different, right? I'm used to this, right? Players get very set in their ways. It's probably no different than people in any other aspects of their life. If you've been drinking Coca-Cola your entire life, you're probably not switching to Pepsi, right? I mean, you can give you all the Pepsi you want. It's no different with machines too, right? Players kind of grow up on games and certain styles and play mechanics. And so we've tried to replicate a lot of, things that we see that players like in the industry, but then add little Zitro twists and elements to a lot of our games. And we're trying to build some brand loyalty, obviously, with that. So when we come out with a game like Foo Pots, obviously, a follow-on game to it that has a lot of the same features and play mechanics is Foo Frog, obviously. And so, we can do some extensions with it, which allows us to grow and grow our customer base as well.
Okay, and finally, Derek, I wanted to know, you mentioned about 2025, but what are you kind of targeting as being kind of the most exciting points for Zitro as you kind of look forward into that kind of year ahead, beyond, I guess, G2E, and what your expectations are coming out of G2E?
Yeah, it's really going to, for us, the next year is going to be these new markets that I mentioned previously, are going to be super exciting for us. That's going to extend the Zitro brand into places that have never seen Zitro products before. And then secondarily, it's going to be the launch of the concept cabinet. Like I said, we've had the Glare cabinet for several years now. I think this is an evolution for Zitro that it is really going to take us to some new heights. Literally, because the cabinet's that big. And we're excited of what that means to us in terms of game performance. I think that'll allow us to, take Zitro to kind of some levels that might not have been seen before.
Great. Well, it's been fantastic catching up with you again. A year on from having a chat to you previously. I look forward to catching you in 2 weeks. I think it's 2 weeks today, actually. So
I
yeah,
know.
I'll be on the booth, stood next to the concept, and yeah, trying to find out more about all the games and kind of exciting things you have for Zitro, Derek. Thank you very much for the call.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. I appreciate it.
No, great. See you soon. Bye.
Bye bye.
Hope you enjoyed the podcast. If you want to watch more, why not subscribe to our channel? Just click here.